Good morning, everyone. This is Waoud Darmaki from the Federal Authority for Government Human Resources. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's HR Club session. As always, these gatherings are about coming together to explore new ideas, to challenge our thinking, and to shape the future of human resources in government and beyond. Today, we are discussing a theme that is not only timely, but also transformational, the future of autonomous HR in the era of agentic AI. Our session today will be led by Maysa El-Muhtar, Country HR Lead at Oracle, Samer Hakiko, Principal Solution Engineer at Oracle, Dima Youssef, Director at Oracle. The future of HR is being reshaped by agentic AI, intelligent systems that can act independently, predict needs, and personalize employee experiences. This shift will transform HR from administrative functions into proactive and strategic drivers of workforce development. While AI offers efficiency and insight, HR leaders must balance with human empathy, ethics, and trust. Our speakers will highlight what is agentic AI and how it is different from traditional AI and automation. How can UAE federal entities leverage agentic AI to stay ahead of global HR trends? How do we prepare the HR workforce to collaborate effectively with AI? And can AI deliver truly personalized employee experiences at scale? Let's find out this together with our speakers. Please feel free to share any questions or comments you have in the chat box throughout the session. We will address all questions at the end. Samer?
Thank you, Oud, and thanks everyone for making today's session. As you said, Oud, you made a very nice summary of today's discussion. It's a bit thought-provoking. No, it's something new. It's something that we are all still exploring and trying to find, the right balance in terms of how we really can benefit from AI agents specifically. So with me, of course, I have Dima and Maisa, who will also share their experiences and take their opinion on, how we can really leverage and benefit from this new technology. But before we dive into, the discussion, it's really important for us. So let me just go into my first talking point. I hope you are seeing my slides right now. But the first thing, and I wanted to understand from the audience, is their understanding of agentic AI. What does it mean to them? Do they have a clear definition of what it actually does or not? So for that, allow me to invite you to, scan this QR code and participate in a poll just for us to get a sense of your, initial understanding of what agentic AI means, and then we will take it forward. So
سامر نحن ممكن نشارك بالبوم
أكيد
كمان
أكيد.
يلا
So we give it a couple of minutes. ومن بعدها we will see what were the responses.
فكرة فيه
We give it a few more seconds. Wow.
واو
Samer, is there a right or a wrong answer to this?
There's the best answer,
Okay.
but it's always interesting to see how do we perceive it. There's a lot of concerns about when adopting new technologies.
صح صح.
فهيدي شغلة كتير أساسية إنه how to really use it, benefit from it instead of pushing it away and resisting to change. All right. I think we've had some good participation so far. I guess if we can just look at the results just to scan through them. Obviously a robot that can hire and fire people on its own, this is a bit I know it's a bit tough.
Hard.
And none of us want that, of course. So I see the audience is split between the answer number 2 and number 4, which is AI can take initiative, act toward goals, not just follow commands, and AI can collaborate with humans, taking responsibility for tasks, which makes sense. When Maisa asked me, is there a right or wrong answer? It's not, it's the best answer basically. All right. I tried to be a bit tricky in the answers or the options provided to you. I wanted to really see exactly where do you see human involved in the entire AI discussion. Definitely it's an AI tool that can take initiatives.
سامر سريع وقت
Yeah.
بس في كومنتس ان الصوت مش واضح ممكن بس اذا فينا نعيد
Yeah, of course. So I'll
الميكروفون.
just now can you hear me properly? I hope you can. If I know what I wanted to say, so let me just take go back to the slides and really look at the definition of agentic AI. Here the whole point is it's a tool that will act independently. All right, it's going to be proactive. It will have clear objectives, all right, and it can act on its own with no human intervention. But again, we need to find that balance where we need that human intervention. And probably this is the responsibility of HR to find that balance. I will explore these, kind of ideas in terms of how do we implement it and how we make sure that it's not just working on its own later throughout the session. Okay, but the most important part is we need to differentiate between automation and agentic AI. It's really important to have this kind of a view in terms of automation is simply something that is predefined set of rules that we put.
صح.
Accordingly the application or the system can act on it, but it cannot think outside of that boundary that we have put for that specific
سامر امبارح كنا عم نحكي انا وياك I think we discussed هيك كم example that can be relevant here. مثلا years ago كانت الشركات عندها annual leave forms that كل موظف بده يعبي annual leave ويعطيها لل HR ويمضيها ويحطها بالفايل تبع الموظف. Now we're moving to automating processes like that. This is automation. So it's the reduction of paper/admin work to a certain extent. But again, it's so different from what we're going to talk about today.
Exactly. And you're completely right. If we look at, the timeline of the evolution of technology, first we started with, when we were talking about digitization, it was just, transferring these manual forms to, a computer.
صح.
But then we took it one step forward. We've set some rules. Let's say if I'm a male, I cannot apply for a maternity leave, for example. All right. So these kind of options won't.
Exactly.
Then the whole approval workflow kicks in. Then we introduced intelligent HR. All right. Mobility. So with a bit of machine learning بلشنا شوي نشوف all right, now we have a lot of data and this data is digital. how can I make use of it.
yeah.
alright. فبلشنا نحكي عن predictions, suggestions,
patterns
معينة، بس كانوا كلهم هيك بنحسهم disconnected شوي، انه
صح.
كل وحده بالاريا تبعيتها بشكل انه if I'm let's say doing something specific in, let's say for example performance appraisals, I'll get these kind of هيك assistance from the system in terms
إذا
of
بدك حتى raw data يمكن most of the times.
exactly. But autonomous HR is different لأنه now what I can do is I can have مثل my digital twin, you know,
صح.
in the application across different functions. يعني أنا إذا بدي أعمل كمان إذا برجع لموضوع let's say I'm about to retire, okay. طب usually HR are reactive to the fact اللي بيصير إنه someone retires or submits his resignation. All of a sudden, if his role is very important and has an impact on the business, we panic and we need to find a replacement,
صح.
especially if we don't have the right succession plan in place and so on and so forth. فبنصير بدنا نبلش نفتش نشغل الريكروتمنت نشغل التالنت team and so on and so forth. But with autonomous HR, what will happen is it will proactively go and scan the skills available,
صح.
propose candidates.
صح.
If let's say these candidates are not up to let's say the skill level, it can also suggest learnings.
Of course.
So that
Of
you know
course.
هيك we يعني imagine all of these processes يعني نحن عم نحكيهم هيك بجملة واحدة بس these are you know different processes that take time to you know generate and to have it in front of you to take certain actions. Alright. فما بعرف what are your thoughts so far in terms of autonomous HR.
صراحة سامر we are using it in our day to day بأوراكل. I'm sure a lot of other companies are doing the same. وأنا as an HR professional I think I love using it لأنه it allows me to spend time where I will add value the most. يعني أنا اليوم بدل ما أقضي وقت عم فتش على كم موظف عندي بالشركة are good in programming, I can spend that time speaking to employees and managers on how can we help them scale up.
Exactly.
يعني the data is there. AI is helping me by one, sharing the right details, making the right decisions, having a 360-degree view. يعني أنا اليوم ما بقى عم طلع على one aspect. أنا اليوم ك HR I see my full organization in front of me against any element I'm looking for. So this means that the work that is required from us as a function behind the scenes is minimal now.
مزبوط.
And we are more frontline.
مزبوط.
دايما نحن مع البزنس عم نشوف شو التشالنجز، شو المشاكل، كيف فينا نحلها، كيف فينا ندعم الموظف، كيف فينا نساعد الموظف to build their learning journey، كيف فينا to help the business build their succession planning properly لما نوصل لمحل where we panic.
Exactly.
Right? So personally from my perspective and my team's perspective I think we are really enjoying doing that. وحتى كنت عم بحكي أنا وديما إنه within Oracle we have also tools that help us in setting communication. So أنا اليوم بدل ما أضيع ساعة من وقتي I'm drafting a communication ل different audiences، أنا عندي tool I go there draft for me a communication for 1 to 3 2 seconds I have the communication sent out حتى. So again less time on admin stuff, more time where it matters.
Exactly. وهون الفكرة إنه you know and this is هيك a bit what's interesting about agentic AI إنه now we probably when this technology matures enough and becomes implemented throughout organizations اللي حيصير إنه مثل ما عندنا workforce directory for actual human beings.
صح.
إنه نحن usually when we hire someone what do we look at? Their experience, their background, their skills.
Their skills, yeah.
Alright. فهذه شغله كتير اساسيه وبلس انه نشوف their character انه do they have these kind of leadership traits اذا بدهم ياخذوا a managerial role or not. فكل هالمواضيع هذه we look at it. هلا what's interesting انه from a technology perspective especially when you're talking about agentic AI اللي عم نعمله هو the same thing. يعني we're creating an agent who's autonomous. يعني he can think freely independently. That's one. Two, I'm not مثل responsibility goals for him to achieve or for it to achieve. Alright. وسكند يكون aware of the environment he's working on. When we say aware of the environment يعني انه depending on the workflow اللي انا عم بشتغل فيه, whether انا مثلا a compensation agent or a payroll agent or a recruitment agent, I know exactly, this is my role and this is what I need to do in terms of, assisting whoever I need to assist.
Yeah.
the brain, فأنا هون طيب أنا I'm creating this digital agent بس I need to load it with information with data
صح.
يعني data that may be coming from outside أو data that is relevant to the organization, to the entity
صح.
I'm working with. فهون كمان it's something that we can also include as part of creating this digital employee. Definitely the whole point is انه انا I want to embed it in the flow of work. مثل ما قلت انه انا اذا عندي a recruitment agent حيقدر يشتغل within these boundaries. بس the most important part انه في حال بده يضطر يحكي مع another agent يمكن يقدر يشوف بتعرف شو انا I want to draft an offer letter. I need to check with the compensation agent what are the salaries for these specific grades كل هالمعلومات هاي. فكمان these agents will be able to communicate with one another بشكل انه it becomes really something that is useful to us.
Samer, for me, if I may, this is the major difference between automation وبين agentic AI. For me, I look at it, هل الشيء اللي عم ينعمل is one directional ولا is it multi-directional, right? Because specifically بالكيس اللي انت ذكرته على generating an offer letter as a موظف, انا بدي احكي مع الكومبنسيشن تيم, انا بدي احكي مع الريكروتمنت, انا بدي احكي مع المانجر, انا بدي اعرف شو البنفيتس تبع, يعني انا already I'm interacting with different entities. So for me انا شخصيا هل العمل اذا بدك الايجنت عم يعمله if it's multi directional, then for me this is agentic AI.
اكيد.
Yeah.
اكيد.
وتأكيد على كلامك يعني كمان هون this is just a use case just to show you how agents and human can work together, alright. إلها علاقة أكثر بالrecruitment إنه أنا basically when I want to initiate a requisition as a human, I'm gonna go and ask the system, I want to create a new requisition for a specific job, alright. هلا instead of really sometimes hiring a dedicated person انه يكون هو مثل facilitator or coordinator for all the recruitment activities when it comes to scheduling, filtering, كل هالمواضيع هاي, I can have the supervisor agent who can do this on my behalf, screening, وانا I only be involved in when it really matters in terms of probably sitting with, let's say, the really potential candidates, who accordingly taking the decision of hiring these people. But generating the offer and going through all these admin works, I can
100%.
have agents that will do this. All right. And I just want to check if your mic is on mute ولا لا. ميسا.
I think I'm
You're good.
good.
هلا نشوف كمان من الاودينس if they're still finding it هيك some troubles in hearing us. بس before we move to the next topic, لأنه Maisa, you touched on a very important point, which is scaling. All right. Well, I think this is going to be our next هيك discussion point. With the use of AI and agentic AI, where does it come in terms of scaling this technology throughout the entire organization? But before we dive into the employee experience, and I wanted to also, if you can go back to the poll. All right. So if I may ask you to scan again the QR code.
أنا كمان
بينت الجديدة. All right, let me just go هون أسهل لي. Go down. بيانات.
No, it's
Can you
still
please هيك بس
yeah.
check إذا I'm doing the right thing.
Yes.
بيانات.
Now it
All
works.
right, perfect.
Perfect.
So
When it comes to employee experience, what worries you the most?
oh, this is a legitimate question to ask, all right? لأنه initially when we يعني at the very early beginnings of AI اللي صار إنه a lot of people had concerns. صح ميسا؟ إنه will AI replace me؟ يعني ما بعرف إذا an HR if you felt إنه people were having this kind of these doubts, these concerns.
Do you want me to tell you how many conversations I had about this in the past few years? Yes, it was. And a lot of people, يعني, and I don't blame them. مثل أي شيء جديد العالم بتكون متخوفة. شو حيجي معه؟ شو حيأثر علينا؟ حتى even إذا بدك تفكر شوي لأبعد, even when something is really a huge improvement, forget about AI. It takes time for people to understand شو الفاليو اللي هيدا الشيء رح يجيب على حياتهم, whether العملية, الشخصية, etc. So this was a big thing in our world.
ليك صراحة سامر, يعني نحن in solution engineering, عرفت أنا I had a lot of questions من التيم تبعي إنه will our job be replaced by AI?
Exactly.
وصراحة ويمكن كمان كنا عم نحكي بهالموضوع قبل إنه the way I see it, at least بقول لك مثلا from a solution engineering أو pre-sales perspective, كل solution engineer رح يصير هو manager of a group of agents.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So حتى لو Agentic AI was introduced على نطاق العمل تبعنا, الرول ما
بيلتغى
ابدا. يعني انا ما في الغي رول الشخص يلي اجان عم بحكي من التيم تبعي, انا شغلته يحكي مع الكاستمر, يفهم شو البزنس تشالنج اللي هو بروبلم سولف بطريقه that makes sense بالمعطيات يلي بالبلد اللي نحن اوبريتنج فيها, بالاوبريتنج موديل تبع الكاستمر. سو ايه سالت كثير هالسؤال. هلا يمكن بارت كبير من التيم انبسط رح يصيروا مانجرز. لا
exactly صح.
So
there's a growth
exactly
in it.
there's على طول there's a growth in it. So I think هيدي يمكن كمان some of the conversations that we were having.
أنا كتير بهمني أزيد بعد point ديما to what you said. وبرجع بقول لك عم بحكي من an HR stand هيدا اليوم. ما فينا to ignore AI, وما فينا نتصرف بالشغل مع البزنس مع الموظفين كأنه AI doesn't exist. بس كمان we have a huge responsibility as leaders first, as HR second, to educate our people.
Absolutely.
عرفت يعني أنا مثلا I say it openly, أنا اليوم ماني بحاجة لحدا يعمل data entry عندي بالتيم. ماني بحاجة لحدا يكون عم يرد على موظف بقديش عنده بعد leave balance. بس أنا بحاجة لحدا إذا موظف عنده مشكل يجي يقدر يحكي معه. أنا بحاجة إذا الموظف صاير عنده concerns على مديره يكون في حدا open enough, human enough to hear the concerns out. The role is changing.
And to your point, يعني some of the answers اللي كانت هون
هلا عم شوفهم
might make decisions that feel unfair or lack of empathy.
صح.
فهذه شغله كمان كثير اساسيه انه
بدنا جاوبتها.
لانه البرسبشن از انه AI حيشوف black or white, ما في عنده
exactly
to take into consideration emotions, situations.
صح.
بس في something interesting كمان you touched on ميسا اللي هي it could replace some HR roles and reduce the need for humans. Okay. هلا and to your point, هلا مزبوط انه data entry is becoming more and more obsolete as a role, لانه عم نشوف انه in terms of education كل هذا عم بيتطور.
صح.
عم يصير في عنا very educated workforce, they are computer literate, they're following all of these trends. يعني بتذكر يمكن probably 10 or 15 years ago كنا لما نحكي عن الموبايل أو سمارت فون especially for let's say blue collars يقول لك إنه هذا ما بيعرف يستعمل. بس هلا كل العالم عم بتستعمل هدول التولز and anything.
هلا إذا بتقول لحدا can I have your phone number بيعطيك يحط لك QR code.
exactly. فمشان هيك انه انا يعني to that first point يعني بفضل هيك to look at it more from a positive perspective انه أنا elevating, upskilling these individuals to do something really, you know,
Exactly.
productive, useful to their career,
Exactly.
to their progression, rather than just doing something redundant.
سامر I think كلنا شفنا a lot of posts على LinkedIn وعلى social media platforms بتقول AI will not take over any jobs
Yes.
unless you do not learn how to
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Exactly.
هي صار السؤال أكثر إنه to learn
exactly.
AI versus to resist
You
AI.
cannot ignore it. I don't
Exactly.
think anyone should.
وهيك just going back to the poll, it's interesting إنه the majority at least who participated إنه they mentioned all of the above. It's a legitimate concern إنه أنا I can look at, you know, the ethical use of AI.
صح.
I can look at إنه, you know, sometimes people might not use it responsibly. فكلها هذه these are legitimate concerns, alright. بس to go back to our, you know, presentation again. Let me just take a quickly like that. فهون خلينا نركز أكثر إنه when we're talking about all of these concerns, alright. خلينا نركز أكثر على ال positives. What benefits, you know, AI can bring
صح.
to the employee experience or to the organization as a whole, alright.
Okay.
What do you think, Dimo?
Listen, هلا definitely إذا بدك as a first line manager AI كتير عم بيساعدني بالconversations اللي عم بكون عندي إياها مع التيم تبعي specifically when it comes to learning and development and growth, right? So إذا already ال AI is there looking at the skills, obviously نحن we're all about skills,
Exactly.
right? إذا ال AI is there looking at the skills, is able to recommend learnings in specific ways, is able to recommend specific career growth journeys. هيدا الشيء إذا بدك أول شيء عم بفضل admin work من الموظف to go ahead and look عرفت إنه شو هن ال potential opportunities اللي له بالشركة، وبنفس الوقت نحن we're sitting and having this conversation هون ال human element، يعني أنت عم تعمل sense check أو validation إنه إيه maybe this makes sense، بس يمكن هذا الموظف بحكم again هون the human interaction بحكم وضع عائلي بده ينقل على غير رول بغير بلد so you can see how that could work.
صح.
So definitely when it comes to learning and development صراحة it's playing a very big role in terms of recommendations, in terms of job opportunities or growth, in terms of actual you know learnings to إذا بدك beef up the skill set تبع الامبلويز. Not sure myself.
أكيد ديما أكيد I agree. I think it really is important that this whole topic is not the responsibility of one person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So الموظف أكيد عنده aspirations. نحن we offer the tools to help them and guide them, and the manager will continue to play their role as a manager.
Absolutely.
I have to continue to coach. I have to continue to mentor. I have to continue to ensure my employee is receiving the right support لحتى يكبر بالاتجاه اللي المطلوب. ف this is the beauty of it. بس كمان بنفس الوقت الموظف فيه يقعد يعمل self assessment على سكرين قدامه موجود كل شيء فيه يساعده to level up, to scale, to move on. عرفتي؟ So I think the combination is amazing.
I think إنه ال conversation هلا صارت أهين لأنه الموظف عنده access للداتا اللي هو بده إياها.
أكيد.
أنا عندي access للداتا يلي بتعنيني للموظف بهالموضوع so أهين لي إني to have this conversation specifically على ال development.
100%.
إذا الموظف فوق شغله right he needs to spend يخصص جمعة جمعتين ثلاثة
أكيد.
مشان يعمل هيدا الستدي أو الدراسة، وأنا نفس الشيء معه ومع كل الدايركتس اللي إلي.
صح.
It was time consuming.
أكيد.
بتحس أنت ما عم تقدري to focus fully، بس هلا صارت أهين للطرفين أكيد.
100%.
again يعني أنا لأنه based on my role and responsibility within Oracle دايما I find myself going back to the solutions that we provide. we are actually on the right track. يعني نحن in the past couple of years we invested a lot in terms of, you know, having these kind of AI tools موجودين بالsolutions, especially when it comes to skills, and it became the new currency for employee records. صار skills is a very important هيك component in the whole process that goes hand in hand مع ال AI.
صح.
Alright? لأنه صار أنا based من a simple skill أنا I can link learning recruitment opportunities, growth opportunities, and so on and so forth from that specific piece of information. Accordingly, I can plan it. وبتذكر ميسا نحن مرة I was discussing my career growth
صح.
and I remember إنه one of your advice was إنه سامر أنت you need to take control يعني أنت you need to decide what exactly you want to do. Put a plan, and accordingly we can execute it together. So HR will be able to assist, but first, and I need to take the first step. I need to take the initiative, and for me to take the initiative, I need the data, I need information,
of
and that's how
course.
AI can help me.
Of course.
Alright.
But then the good thing is إنه أنت لما تطلع بالداتا ما بتشوف a 1-year-old data. and تعرف كتير موظفين عم يخبروني إنه when they see their graph they feel so proud.
Exactly.
إنه أنا عم شوف حالي كيف عم بتطور من 5 سنين لسنتين لورا لليوم وين صرت. So it's like it shows a journey that really deserves that we as individuals take few minutes to celebrate ourselves. بينما أنت لما ما يعني أنت إذا ما شفتها ما حتتخيل شو صار من قبل. Exactly with our busy lives إنه أنا من 5 سنين كنت لما أسمع بهيك شيء مثلا ما أعرف شو لازم أعمل. When I used to have a conflict with someone كنت أركض لعند مديري ليساعدني. اليوم this is a skill for me. So it shows you هذا الgrowth graph اللي عن جد I think is a number one motivator for us to
Absolutely
continue in that direction.
هلا the most important part is governance and human oversight. Honey, what is the role of HR, all right, in terms of, putting a framework to all of this?
Yes.
ويكون في مثل guidelines on how to use it responsibly. How can we start using it, basically?
I have a lot of questions from Waoud as well.
Oh yeah,
about this topic. So how can we train the HR teams to use it responsibly? How will this impact HR teams focusing more on strategic rather than admin HR related stuff for employee experience? I think all of this will be covered here.
Okay. Let me just go back to the slide deck first. Do you want to go ahead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot talk enough about the importance of this topic. I mean, AI is very nice. AI is very needed. AI made a lot of things very easy for organizations, for employees, for individuals, for managers, etc. This is not the first time I say what I'm going to say, but بكل شيء ethics should come first.
Of course.
Right? So I think we slightly came along these lines in one of our previous sessions, but step number 1 is to set our, we call it governance, يعني policies, the do's and don'ts, what can we use this for, what can we not use it for, so that everyone knows the boundaries. Okay? ما فينا تكون this is completely open. We have to respect those boundaries as employees in a certain organization. Hey, boundaries, it will be a core reflection of our values as a company, of our code of ethics. It will also help us shape our conduct in the market. فكتير مهم as a step 1 يكون عندنا governance يتحكم ب what we expose, what we don't, when do we use, when we don't, absolutely, what do we share, what we do not share, etc. As part of this governance as well, I think كتير من الشركات وأنا دايما بحكي with myself in mind كتير مهم إنه نحن اليوم نساعد ال HR teams تبعنا وغير teams كمان يفهموا AI. become AI literate. يعني اليوم أنا لما ما أكون عارفة why am I doing this, I'm most likely going to do something wrong. But when I see the value of something and when I know how is it helping me, I will definitely benefit and help my company benefit from it. So I think training the people and educating our people on this very important topic is crucial. One of the polls عندك كان في option, it's a buzz. It is a buzz. ابني عمره 11 سنة بيحكي AI. It is a buzz. But how do we balance? okay? And then I think another important part of this is transparency. يعني نحن اليوم ما فينا نعطي كل شيء ل AI. في data، في confidentiality، في privacy بالشركات ما فيها تطلع، يعني في information ممنوع يطلع على AI. And this is to be clearly reflected in our policies and governance models. بس كمان education plays a key part. يعني نحن مثلا بأوراكل بنعرف إنه these things should not be there.
Exactly.
And we are monitored. We monitor our teams. We ensure this is not happening. يعني we have every governance in place to ensure that we do not breach any of the policies we have. And we have to do this with transparency لأنه it's not only HR, it's أنت ديما كمديرة اليوم, it's your responsibility to ensure your team does XYZ. سامر نفس الشيء. Everyone. It's a joint responsibility across board. بعدين controlling this is also important. So and controlling also includes testing. So نحن اليوم إذا عنا a pilot أو عنا like this is coming into life or a project that we are executing, before we take any official steps, before we launch it, خلينا نجرب شوي to test what we have. إذا حطينا X data شو output؟ إذا حطينا Y data شو output؟ Do we have control on what data we can add? Do we have control on what reports we get? Do we know where is our data ending? أنا اليوم لما أحط مثلا confidential information عن موظفيني على ChatGPT, whatever it is, like the tool I use, لحتى يعطيني report على certain demographics. Let's say I need to understand some statistics about my employees. وين عم بتروح هاي الداتا؟
Absolutely.
Who has access to it? مين عم يشوفها؟ This is confidential data relating to my employees. ما إلي حق أنا HR أو كشركة أو كindividual أو كمدير. I don't have the right to expose this data. So we have to control this as well. And through testing and more testing and more testing, بنوصل لمحل إنه نحن we have control. What's our input? Which is basically what determines our output at all stages.
Absolutely. I think also from my perspective, specifically على the ethics part from human resources, بيهمني كتير ما ننقل البايس تبعنا للايجنت. صحيح، لانه specifically وقت بتجي لاشياء مختصه بالريكروتمنت او بالديفلوبمنت sometimes again ما عم نحكي انه نحن بايس, بس sometimes بتصير يمكن based
we're
على
humans
يعني يمكن based على حدا رايح على نفس الجامعه اللي نحن رايحين عليها, you feel that you want that person, يمكن based على nationality or what not. So أنا كمان كتير بيهمني from that perspective إنه ما ننقل البايس تبعنا
أكيد
للagent. ودفنتلي اللي أنت ذكرتيه بخصوص الكنترول, وذكرتي fine ChatGPT or any public إذا بدك generative AI tool, مش بس على الامبلويي data. يعني إذا أنت حتى بتفكري فيها on personal level, إذا أنت sometimes you're just using it for a personal level, نحن بنفكر مرتين طب هيدا it's confidential information about me and I'm putting it there in the public cloud لمين؟ صح. So completely agree with you على this point.
هلا أنا بس في شغلة I was just looking at the chat كمان هيك to some of the participants were sharing some concerns, questions around AI and the use of AI and how can we enable our people to understand AI. هلا I just want to highlight one thing. هلا yes we can go technical in that topic to really understand how does it work.
صح.
وكل هالمواضيع هيدي بس أنا إذا بدي أخذها from a business perspective, okay, the most important part for me إنه to know how to use it.
صح.
يعني مثل ما بدي أقول إنه I don't want to ignore how it's created, what goes in the back end, كل هالمواضيع هيدي, بس as a business user أنا بيهمني أكتر شيء بدي أعرف أنا كيف هذا AI will help me.
صح.
to know how it will help me I need to know how to use it.
صح.
Alright. To simplify things, يعني I might sound like a beginner in what I'm going to say, but to simplify things, probably the most important part in learning how to use AI هو prompt engineering. إنه أنا أعرف كيف أسأل السؤال اللي بدي أسأله
صح.
to get the information that I want. alright.
كثير بنسمع عن prompt سامر. I think it's nice to spend few minutes
Yeah, of
تشرح لنا
course.
شوي إنه دايما بنقول it's the prompt that you add.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
what is this exactly?
اللي بيصير from a prompt engineering perspective يعني أنا مثلا هلا I want to prepare for that
Okay.
webinar. Okay. أنا فيني فوت على chat GPT و simply type in create a presentation on agentic AI. A very simple هيك statement it will generate for me هيك a lot of information that I can use.
Okay.
بس it's a bit all over the place لأنه أنا wasn't specific
صح.
in what I
صح.
asked for.
صح.
بينما إذا جيت قلت أنا you know what أنا I work for Oracle, alright, and as a consultant I want to deliver a webinar for the Federal of Human Resource in Abu Dhabi. I'm becoming more and more specific.
صح.
Take an AI, what it would do is it will go and check a lot of sources related to the UAE in terms of regulations, in terms of governance when it comes to AI. وبنفس الوقت it will link back to me as a person. You know, this is a consultant speaking. So I'd rather, you know, not make it too technical, but أكتر إنه it's something you know geared towards the HR people and so on and so forth. But this is prompt engineering, and it's becoming more and more of an art. Know how to really, you know, design, how to ask questions.
Exactly.
This is really important. وحتى يعني إذا we go outside of our business إذا بنروح مثلا على يعني in the early stages of AI و generative AI specifically لما كنا عم نشوف هدول الصور الحلوة اللي عم تطلع كنت أنا أقرأ البرومبت بتشوف إنه بدي إياك تستعمل اللينس 35
Oh my God.
But you start, depending on your area of expertise, you become more and more in control of how to ask and what to ask.
Wow, okay.
All right. But this is prompt engineering.
Okay.
هلا أكيد نحن we're trying as much as possible to simplify it. We have introduced Agentic AI in Oracle.
Yeah, we did.
It's something that is later on our customers will start using it as well.
I told you how much I enjoy it صح لأنه عن جد عم بيوفر علي وقت بكتير محلات.
Prompt engineering is a big part of, you know, how we set it up.
Of course.
To behave in that. Okay. So هون before we wrap it up هيك just some key takeaways from you know about this discussion, you know, worth mentioning towards the end of this webinar. You know, first and foremost, Agentic AI, again, the sole purpose of Agentic AI, you know, is to complement what you do.
True.
But in a very autonomous way, very independent of you know
feelings, emotions, human side, etc.
But of course, we need to have this kind of human intervention, and we need to decide what AI can do and what humans should do.
And I had a lot of questions from Maud about this particularly, and how can we do this? And I hope we managed to answer this question. But I think again, and when I talk from an HR perspective. We would never want to be a function that operates without humans. We are called human resources. We are here to support. We are here to provide guidance. We are here to provide recommendations. We are here to drive the business forward. We don't want to be here to do more admin. So I'm so happy from my perspective that all of these time-consuming admin stuff I can push aside and I can focus more on the front line. This is the purpose. I can be a strategic advisor for 90% of my time now rather than doing 50% being an advisor and 50% sitting in my office doing letters and paperwork and trying to analyze 500 reports at once to see any patterns or trends. I can get this now. I can go to a meeting with a business leader, literally on my tools, show them in one click what they should see that will help them make the right decision for the company.
وكمان to Aud's point, our question, يعني هيك from the design perspective of, you know, these agentic AI, نحن what we do is to balance what AI can do human. نحن as part of the design بندخل where's the involvement of a manager.
صح.
Right?
صح.
One needs to get يعني مثلا هعطيكم an example مثلا a compensation agent agentic AI. يمكن هذا he will have to access some confidential
صح
information لها
صح
علاقه بالسالري ديتيلز كمان
اكيد
المواضيع هذه. فاللي عاده اللي بنعمله نحن بالديزاين تبع الاي اي انه before reaching the step and allowing AI to go and grab this information
HR manager yeah
exactly
yeah
مثل a step انه first of all to get the acknowledgement انه go
اكيد
ahead and do it and the approval so that the AI
of
can go
course
ahead
of
and
course
So exactly to your point maybe كمان لسؤال لو أعود إنه how do you control it نحن we determine and we
exactly
design شو بده يعمل الايجنت شو
what
الباوندريز
works best for everyone
exactly نحن يلي again نحن as an organization نحن يلي بنحدد وين الهيومن intervention بدها تصير كم intervention بدها تصير ولا you know at what point بدها so نحن we own it
صح
يعني I think the way we see it إنه نحن definitely AI لازم نسخره لمصلحتنا بس it's not
100%
خلص AI Agentic AI is there let it run
100%
one last point أنا sometimes لأنه كمان it's something that we go through in our interaction with our clients إنه مثلا when we're doing performance appraisals we see a lot of clients بيجوا بيقولوا طيب أنا I want AI to rate the employees نحن يعني كمان probably هيك it's above my pay grade but I can comfortably say إنه we will never do this
no
إنه to let you know a robot decide you know
your rating
the rating
أكيد
of
لا
an employee.
نحن سامر I think you both know إنه نحن this year we introduced AI into our performance appraisals بس they did not rate employees they helped us draft the communication so أنا اليوم أنا وعم بعمل الابريزل تبع my team بدل ما أقعد أكتب دير درارا thank you so much for your hard work this year I've seen you successfully achieve 1 2 3 and I would like to encourage you I write pointers good communication did not achieve X, achieved Y, and then AI will help me draft it nicely. But AI would not score the performance of my employees. This is completely out of question for me.
There's an interesting point on chat. Don't you think that AI will convert people to be independent instead of dependent? هلا نحن probably we were talking no it's gonna no لا he connected it بعدين بس كمان هيك هذه هيك stroke a nerve عندي.
I know you will love answering this so I will not say anything.
لأنه الفكرة إنه إيه أنا صراحة probably after COVID I started probably depending more on myself and I have all the tools
أنا كمان
around me.
أنا كمان
I stopped interacting much with my colleagues ولاحظت إنه this is impacting me negatively and that's why we need to use AI responsibly.
صح.
Alright لأنه أنا if I'm just going to rely on AI and say خلاص my AI has all the answers I'll just ask ChatGPT why should I bother probably and ask Dima or I ask my colleague my peer إنه خلاص I can just take a shortcut. But this is really something that again from an experience no it's harmful to the employee لأنه نحن we need that network to be created
صح.
we need that collaboration to be there and that the interaction between humans to be there
and Samer Dima sorry but this is a personal decision
exactly لأنه أنا my view of it is a little bit different يعني تعليقا على اللي أنت قلتيه من شوي وقت أنت قلتي 90% من وقتك صار you can focus على interactions
exactly
يعني instead of Maysa spending X number of hours بمكتبة trying to crunch the details
exactly
you are able to actually be there with the people so يمكن it is a personal decision بس كمان يعني there are two views I would say to
حتى بتعرفي انه حتى سامر عنده وجهة نظر لانه بالاخر انا لما يكون عندي سؤال مثلا ديما كيف بعمل هي الشغله فين تلفن لك ديما ساعديني بليز كيف بدي اعمل هي so this gets us into a conversation بينما اذا انا بدي اروح على AI tool how can I do 1 2 3 yeah بس انا ميسا will definitely not go to AI will go to a colleague again لانه I don't want to be doing this in a closed box واللي انت قلته سامر is the case with a lot of people I think now in my world there is pre-COVID post-COVID and a lot of people found it really hard لأنه from a world where our lives buzz with interactions and communication and collaboration to each of us sitting in their own space in front of a laptop barely doing much so I think both points are valid it's our personal we want this to progress in our world
There was another interesting question also from both a technical and workforce perspective. What are the key indicators or assessment we can use to determine whether we are ready to adopt agentic AI? ما شلته.
اوكي.
الفكرة هلا نحن obviously بتعرف لما كنا عم نحكي عن AI و how we can use it everything أكيد the prerequisite is data and the quality of data. All right. Probably this should go, in terms of the assessment. أنا how well the data I have in my systems is clean
صح.
and is relevant.
صح.
All right.
and accurate
and accurate and up to date
and yes.
فهذه شغلة كتير أساسية. Without this, you will always, get hallucinations.
Of course, عن جد, yes, this is very true.
And that's the whole point of a digital transformation conversation. إنه أنا when I see organization going through the hassle of, replacing one system to another, the whole point is إنه I want to make sure that system can have the right tools for me to capture the information, process it in the right way, do some validation. لأنه أنا بعدين I'm sitting on a gold mine.
أكيد. أكيد.
لأنه this data is actually هيك it's gold. It's everything.
عن جد قد ايه احنا بنسمع داتا. نحن أنا من سنين لورا. Data is everything. Data is money. Isn't this what we hear all the time? Data is money. مش ضروري money as in physical money. Data helps us make the right decision, which generates the right revenue, which help us achieve penetrate the right markets, etc. etc.
So تخيلي انت you have the wrong data with an AI agent.
Exactly.
So
there's another question. هلا نحن we still have 7 minutes. But there's another question from the audience. A question to HR officer. I think it's who is responsible for AI failure, bias, or lack of transparency? The company, the vendor, the HR department, or the employee? هلا نحن كنا probably هلا بدنا نجمع الافكار اللي كنا عم نحكيها لانه ما بدنا نحط المسؤوليه على only one.
It will not
right? لانه it's very important for us to first of all to know how to use it. But before knowing how to use governance. بعدين where to implement it, how to implement it, and what to expose, not to expose. ففي كتير responsibilities across all parties involved, whether it's the HR officer, whether it's the vendor in terms of the technology, and whether it's the employee who's using it.
وبنرجع سامر to add to this, and Dima please feel free to jump in. إنه نحن اليوم أهم من إنه نستعمل AI is to set our governance. لأنه when our governance is clear ومثل ما هلا أنا بدي أحكي عن البرومبت مثل ما حكينا عن البرومبت ونحن we can put rules of what people can do using AI and what they cannot, and the approval is required إذا بدهم يروحوا على محلات لازم يكون عندهم approval. So once we set our governance in the right manner, all of this will be eliminated.
Absolutely.
عرفتي أنا اليوم إذا بيجي بقول managers cannot do this on AI. The moment this is entered on the tool, it's either blocked or something is sent to someone to give them, alerts. It wouldn't happen. بس كمان نحن we have to also be open to the idea إنه الخطأ يجوز.
Out of curiosity. يعني يمكن ما it's not out of bad intentions. بس يمكن out of curiosity as a موظف أنا عبالي شو معقول
شو بيصير إذا بعمل هيك.
Exactly.
صح؟
So ومن هيك اللي أنت قلتيها I think كلمة أساسية it's a shared governance. يعني definitely the HR or the organization need to set the right governance and it's up to each one of us as individuals, as managers, as employees.
حتى خلينا نفكر فيها without the use of AI. لما ما كان في عنا AI كنا نحن as HR manager, employee, vendor, whoever does something.
صحيح.
ما كانت responsibility على شخص.
Absolutely.
حتى without the presence of AI نحن as human beings we have to acknowledge the fact that mistakes can happen and will continue to happen regardless of what tools we are using. صح؟ It's how we deal with them and what governance we have in place to avoid them.
صحيح.
وحتى let's remove the bias of AI. نحن اليوم and I'm sure if we have HR colleagues on the calls they would know. اليوم an issue between a manager and employee. Forget about the platform they are using. خلينا ننسى شوي AI ونحطها على جنب. It can be relationship يكون فيها bias بلا use of AI. وفيها تكون perfect مع use of AI. So again, acting responsibly, acting with ethics, defining the right governance will help us again reduce all of these issues and concerns to the bare minimum.
وحتى ميسا يعني again مثل ما انت ذكرتي remove AI على جنب, remove IT solutions. حتى لو نحن عم نعمل process على الورق والقلم, right, على طول في عندك balances and checks, على طول في عندك gateways.
صح.
So
صح.
بالسبيس تبع ال AI الgateway معقول تكون the human intervention.
صح.
right. الgateway معقول تكون limitation على شو ال AI في يعمل وما في يعمل. So basically نحن نفس إذا بدك البروسيجرز اللي بنطبقها بالحياة العادية بغض النظر عن AI, لا هي فينا by the same logic, مش نفس الداتا, the same logic.
صح.
فينا نحمله معنا على deploying AI and actually put those guardrails in place.
هلا obviously الحديث يطول. There's a lot we can discuss on AI, talk about AI. There's a lot of ideas coming up. Probably, I think around September, we will have our AI World event.
Yes.
كمان نحن كنا نسميه Oracle Cloud World. هلا تحول Oracle AI World. لأنه عن جد عم نشوف يعني it's like the internet boom بال 20 سنة. .com boom. AI is the next boom. وأنا هذاك الأسبوع كنت بأمريكا ونحن وماشيين على الطرقات كل البيلبوردز
You told us,
كله AI agents وشركات.
Yeah, of course.
It's serious. It's big. And I believe it's happening.
Of course it is.
And that's why probably هيك the call to action in terms of AI and agentic AI هو إنه first of all إنه probably we need to start with pilot projects to test it.
صح.
To see how it works. Of course we need to train the HR teams يكونوا كمان شوي عندهم literacy بال AI حتى يعرفوا exactly how to control it, deal with it. Most importantly هو إنه to put this kind of governance framework and to start now. لأنه فينا أحيانا نقول يلا أنا I want to adopt the AI technology بس بعدين بخبط بالحيط مع compliance والgovernance والregulations and so on. But we really need to start thinking about it right now.
And I think I would like to end this with one small note. Be positive about it. As you said, Samuel, it's there, it's real, it's big.
And it's happening.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you, everyone. I hope this conversation was interesting, thought-provoking. Probably opened your mind to some different ideas, some cool
new
use cases.
But
all I can tell you is, inshallah, in our next events, whether it's GITEX, Oracle AI World, that will happen hopefully in the UAE, we will be showcasing Agentic AI. We've already launched a lot of AI agents across different HR functions. Again, reach out if you want, or you can meet us during these events to show you these capabilities and what we are doing in that space.
Absolutely.
Thank you everyone once more. مشكورين. Have a great day ahead وإن شاء الله بنشوفكم بخير in our next session.
مع السلامة.